Hi, I'm Davern. I'm here to share my love for tennis with you and to help you be happier on the court. Hi, today's video is about trying to keep the essence and etiquette and manner of tennis and spread that with everybody. I'm trying to model this every day in every way, at every opportunity I can. So I'm trying to do this video here to see if I can get more people to follow along and to get everything right. So this has got a lot of things involved. So this is going to be the first part of a two-part series. So how everybody can be happier on the court, both the people who are playing now and the people who are coming after, or the people who are before, all the time. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is before you actually get onto a court. So of course all these different scenarios happen all the time, but what I'm hoping for is that they can be minimized or fully stopped would be even better. Is a lot of the things in tennis, if we do it and we do all these habits and we have all these etiquettes and manners and things, if we're doing this here, it's really going to help for a whole lot of other things in the world to be better off. Because instead of just worrying about yourself and being selfish and doing everything that you want to do whenever you want to do it, you're going to have consideration of others and empathy with everybody. So with the before you come on the court things, first one is when you're going to play, of course, I'm, as much as anybody, love to play, want to be on the court, but you have to respect other people's same thing. They may have as much love and fun to go on the tennis court, but regardless, when you have a tennis court booking, you have to respect that, and you don't want to be taking away from their enjoyment of their time on the court as well. So step one would be, if you're at a place where, like I am, for example, where you have to have a court booking, you have to buy the court, so that, of course, that means you're going to generate a receipt and all this type of things, is you should always make sure that you're checking your receipt for the correct location and the correct court number and the correct time and date. Because I've had a lot of times where people come in and they start walking all around the place while you're having a game or you're doing a lesson and making us all stop and distracting everybody in the court, where people are actually have booked a court in a different location entirely and they're not even meant to be at this place. Yet they're coming in and trying to hurry you out of the court even before it's their hour, when it's not their hour because they're at a different place. So one of the main things is you really must, instead of what you think you're booked and where you think you're booked, is to really get your receipt and make sure you check it out to see that it's the right time and the right day and the right place, and that you're really sure of that. And of course always do like what I'm doing, is getting a screenshot of the court booking from someone else's booking court, and I'm going to teach them, or if I'm booking the court and I'm going to play or teach them, then I want to have this receipt handy so it's very easy to check that you're in the right time and place. It also has helped a number of times when people are coming in and they're thinking they're going to be using the court you're on, and they're coming in, to be able to, because of this, quickly show them that, hey, look, I just checked my receipt and here it is, you can look at it if you want. This says this, this and this, which is all correct. So if you don't mind to please check your receipt. That can solve the problem really quickly and hopefully allow you to get back on with your time. But the number one would be, is do not go into a court without really being sure that that's the court that you've actually got. Okay? Then the second one in this type of situation about before you get on the court would be making sure that when you play, that your time for your lesson that you may, or your play or practice or match, whatever it is, the hour that you have booked, or the 2 hours or however many hours you have booked, is that you do not enter the court before it's your turn to play. Of course, when you see there's people who are playing beforehand and they look like they've got quite a bit of time needed to be able to pack up, because some people go there with 100 or more tennis balls, is of course in this situation, then if you're going next to the gate and you're waiting in, or even want to step inside the gate a little bit because there's only 1 or 2 minutes to go and they look like they are, they're not going to be able to clear off before it's your turn to start, then of course this would be a situation where you would want to come in and try to, without having an argument or being too bossy, walking in and taking over the place before the hour, is just to come in and to show that, excuse me, are you nearly finished, type of idea, because that obviously they're going to be eating into your time. So then, of course, point number 3 would be when you are having a court booking, you want to make sure that you really only play to your time, and you be mindful that other people are coming in if you don't have the booking on the same court in the next hour, is to make sure when there's 5 minutes or so before you're finished, is to try to, if you have a lot of balls around or a lot of equipment and things, is try to clear up everything at the end of, in the 50-55 minute mark of your hour, or the 1 hour 50, 1 hour 55 minute mark of your 2 hour booking, to make sure that everything's packed up, so that when you're getting towards the end, there's only going to be a small number of things to clear away, so that you can make sure you're ready to leave on time and have the manners to let other people play for their full hour. So then more of these type of ideas would be, when you're going to play, is you've got to try to make sure that most of the tennis courts and tennis centers, clubs, they're going to have a gate access to the courts for each court. Of course, there are some occasions where there might be either a shared gate, which is still access to your court if you go into your own one, and sometimes there may even be 1, maybe 2 courts in the entire complex or club, where a tennis center, where the a particular court doesn't have a gate to enter it. But the whole idea is you should only enter in and leave out from the gate of the court that you're supposed to be playing on, instead of walking across everybody's court and playing through. As people are trying to play, you're going to interrupt every single court as you go across, when you leave and when you arrive. So the idea is, make sure you try to go in the court in a way that least distracts everybody. The less number of people you can distract is the whole idea. So you're trying to make sure that you really limit it to where you're going in and on from. Same thing is when you do this and you're coming in and out of the gates, it's really important to make sure that you close the latch, or you fully close the gate so it's not going to reopen, so that you know, whatever things can happen, like people coming by, little kids can run in and go, wow, all these tennis balls, and come in because people have left the door open. Or, you know, of course, when you're playing, the tennis balls go out the gate, and then it's going to take you a long time to go get it when the gate should be closed in the first place. So just keep the gates closed all the time before and after you. Even if you think you're coming back in 5 minutes time, that's a lot of time. Is every time you go in and out, you should be closing the door. But of course, when you're playing and you're having to cross courts, if that's the situation that we're trying to minimize, then we should be really trying not to be leaving the court all the time back and forth when you're having to cross other people's court. So if you need to have a drink, then make sure you bring the drinks with you so you're not leaving. The idea is to try to not disrupt every other person as much as you can. You're trying to see that, because all the things that we're doing is we're trying to make it that we do these things because this is also how we would like it to happen when we're using the court. So all the things that requires us to be the one who go out and do the right thing, so that more people are following on and doing the same thing. So then everybody can really enjoy their time on the court a lot more. Okay, so then other things that would be very important to do would be, when you're at the courts, is making sure that if you are waiting just outside the gate, or you're crossing, or you're moving across because there's a lot of courts in a row and you're waiting between, then you've got to be not on your phone and having big loud conversations when people are playing, because the idea is that you're not distracting people's concentration and attention. So with that also means that when you're going to the courts, you want to try to make sure that when people are playing and hitting the ball, is you're supposed to wait until a point's finished and then cross the court if you need to cross behind their court. You shouldn't be walking across when they're trying to play, because of course if you watch the TV, you don't see people walking back and forth behind the players, walking all around going, oh, I feel like a Coca-Cola now, I'm going to just go and grab one and walk behind the court. So when people play, you've got the side screens on the fence, it's very distracting if there's any movement within the court. So in a normal situation, if this happens and somebody moves across the court, then, or a ball comes across the court, it's so distracting that they'll have a let rule where you replay the point. So when people are doing all these things and they're just moving all around and talking loudly and whatever else, is that that means if someone's trying to concentrate and get the most out of their time, or playing any points, singles or doubles, that they're just going to be having to replay the point all the time because of all these things. So when you're playing, you make sure you're mindful of these things, that if people are playing, that you don't walk through across the point. And when you do walk through, you're not making a lot of noise, and you try to quickly pass through. And if you're in a group, try to make sure you all go at the same time, instead of 4 separate people walking 4 times across, so it takes way longer. Go as a group. Okay, so this is the idea when you're at the back of the court. When you're, of course, people are not playing a match for points, is you're still there, want to be focused and they want to be enjoying their play and they don't want distractions. So when you do walk across, of course, if you see they've finished something they're doing, a point or a practice and a ball's been missed, is then's the right time to quickly run across so they're not being distracted and having people run across the court. So then when you do this, there's another scenario when people are walking across and they may feel that, hey, this pace of whatever they're doing is very intense, so it's not really going to be an opportune moment to go across. Then you want to make sure that you go and walk through all as a group quickly together, move across on the side where the balls are not being fired at. So for example, if I'm what's an example? So if I'm basically like doing a practice where somebody's practicing to put in a volley and I'm hitting a lob, and then the second one they're trying to hit the winning volley, and if I can reach it, I'm doing a lob, and then they're doing a overhead. The idea wouldn't be to go in and walk behind the people who are doing the volley and the overhead. The idea would be, that would be the right idea. The idea would be not to walk where I am, because the other person's trying to fire winning shots and overhead smashes. So if you're walking behind to cross their side, then your chances of being hit by the ball is really high. So of course, whenever you're crossing in inside the courts, you want to make sure that you're not putting yourself at risk, or your friends or your children, whoever you're with, when you're crossing. So if we're doing something like that, if I'm playing, then of course I'm going to be mindful of if there's somebody crossing past. So I'll be trying to, if the ball's going to hit them, I'll be trying to make sure they don't get hit, even though they shouldn't be walking behind there. The idea would be to walk behind the other person who's doing all the shots and the hard hitting that is more dangerous, not the other way around. Okay, of course, also it's really important when you're going to cross and move to another court is that you don't walk through in front of the people when they're playing. You always have to try to stay as close to the fence as you can and move across, so that when you're going there, even if they're stopping there waiting for you, you go right near the fence, so you're as far out of the way as possible for the people to play. That's the manner, and if you do that all the time, then other people see you do that, then other people will do this too, instead of people cutting in front. There's no cutting in front. You have to make sure you don't invade the court space where people are trying to play. You try to make sure you keep out of their way as much as possible. So that means crossing by the back fences and clearing through quickly. All right, this is already quite a number of things to do to make everybody have more enjoyment of the time, have more manners, consideration of others, and respect that you want to have when you're trying to play. When you're trying to play, basically the idea is when you're playing on the court, how would you like everything to happen in these scenarios, is then how you need to make sure you're doing that when you're on the court, so that hopefully that rubs off. And if not, you can always post this link to this YouTube video and send it to the people who you find are the offenders, so they can be brought up to a better level so everyone can be happier on the court. If you would like me to talk about any particular scenarios that you're not sure about, if you want to have more class and consideration and respect for people, what should I do when this happens? What would be the right thing to do? Just leave a comment below and I'll definitely answer it, and I'll include it also in the second part, because I'm going to talk about more things in that one too. Okay, I look forward to hearing what you have to say, and hopefully when you get this and you see this, you share it with as many people that you know who play tennis and that you play tennis with as you can, so that everybody can see it and we can all try to be more mindful and have a lot more fun ourselves and everybody else when we're going to the courts. Okay, let's all be good to each other and play tennis all day, every day. If you like this video, please subscribe to my tennis YouTube channel so that you can get a notification by email each time a new video is uploaded. Also, don't forget to share this video with your friends so they can enjoy their tennis too.